Welcome to Hanoi. Hanoi is not only the political capital of Vietnam but also a city rich in natural and cultural and centuries of history. On this journey, we'll explore four special destinations around the famous Great Lake area, including Quan Thanh Temple, Tran Quoc Pagoda, West Lake, and Truc Bach Lake. Are you ready? Let's go!
Welcome everyone. Our first stop today is at Quan Thanh Temple, one of the most historic and spiritual places in Hanoi. This is often a favorite stop for visitors because it combines history, culture, architecture, and a peaceful atmosphere, all in one place. Before we step inside, let me share some practical tips with you. This temple is open every day from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. The entrance ticket is very small, just 10,000 VND per person. The best time to visit is during the spring month because it's when the weather is mild and the courtyard looks especially beautiful with fresh flowers. Because this is a religious site, so please remember to dress modestly. And most visitors spend around 30 to 40 minutes here, but if you like photography or a quiet reflection, you might want to stay a little longer. Now let's look at the temple itself. Quan Thanh Temple is a beautiful example of traditional Vietnamese architecture. Its roof are gently curved and decorated with dragon and phoenix motif, which symbolize power and harmony, and the gates combine TUT symbol with Vietnamese artist design. The layout of the temple reflects a balance between spiritual solemnity and natural harmony. When you walk in, you might notice how the open courtyard, the shade of the banyan tree, and the sound of birds all combined contribute a calm and meditative feeling. Quan Thanh Temple is nearly 1,000 years old. It was built during the time when Hanoi was still called Thanh Long, the ascending dragon. At the time, the ruler of the city wanted to protect it spiritually as well as physically, so they built 4 sacred temples, one in each direction. Quan Thanh Temple was built to guard the north. This temple is dedicated to Tran Quoc, a Taoist god of the north. In Vietnamese belief, he represents strength, protection, and the power to drive away evil spirits. From centuries, local people have come here to ask for blessing, especially for good health and peace in their families. When you go in, there are several highlights you should not miss. The most impressive is the giant bronze statue of Tran Quoc. It's nearly 4 meters tall and weighs about 4 tons. In the statue, he holds a long sword, and around the sword, a snake coils around the turtle. The turtle represents wisdom and stability, while the snake represents power and transformation. Together, they symbolize the balance between peace and strength. Next, you will see a bronze bell from 1600. Despite wars and natural change over the century, this bell has survived and is still here today. Look closely at the wooden doors, carving and calligraphy. The characters and motifs were created by skilled Vietnamese craftsmen hundreds of years ago. And the courtyard, don't miss the banyan tree. In Vietnam, banyan trees are seen as a sacred symbol of longevity and resilience. Quan Thanh Temple is not just a historical monument, it's a living part of the city's culture. Many students come here before exams to pray for success in their study. So if any of you are a student, then might want to ask for a little extra luck here. Every year, on the 3rd day of the 3rd lunar month, the temple hosts a lively festival. People come to make offering, play traditional music, and celebrate together. During this time, the temple is full of energy and colors. So as you can see, Quan Thanh Temple is not just an ancient building. It's a place where architecture, history, culture, and daily life come together. Now you can take some time to walk around, take photos, and enjoy the calm atmosphere. When you're ready, we will continue to our journey to the next stop of our Hanoi city tour.
before your eyes is the serene and historic Truc Bach Lake, one of the Hanoi's most enchanting gems, spanning about 22 hectares with a scenic 1.8 km perimeter. This lake is not only a vital part of the Hanoi climate regulation, but also a vibrant piece of the city cultural tapestry. Let me take you on a journey through its interesting history and vibrant present. Truc Bach Lake was a part of the Great Lake located in its southern eastern section, but it was later separated. However, the section now called the Truc Bach Lake had the calmer water, attracting most of the fish from the Great Lake. As a result, residents of the two villages, Yên Hòa, now in Yên Phụ Street, and Yên Quang, now in Quan Thanh Street, built small dikes to separate this part of the lake for easier fishing. Later, locals used the lake for the fishing farming. When it was first separated, the lake had no name. Nearby there was a small village called Truc Yên, also known as the Truc Lâm, due to its abundant bamboo groves. In the 18th century, Lord Quan ordered the construction of the small palace by the lake for relaxation and leisure, naming it Truc Lâm. Over time, this place became a confinement area for policemen who had committed offense. These women were detained here and wore silk to sustain themselves. The silk they produced became renowned across the region for its strength and beauty, earning the name Truc Bach skill. Gradually, the entire village adopted the weaving trade as a livelihood, and the name Truc Bach was used for both the village and adjacent lake. We stroll around the lake. You will not stick to Telephone Island, Chochu Island, and Musa Island. Chochu is a tiny, charming island featuring a shrine called Cầu Nhi, also known as the Thủy Trung Tiên, and meaning water fairy. This temple preserves the ancient tradition of dog worshiping dating back to era of the Lý Công Uẩn King. Musa Island, located further out and almost entirely isolated in the lake central, was historically famous for its bronze casting trade, with the craft patron saint being Master Nguyễn Minh Không. And today, the island is with descent vegetation, and you can rent the paddle boats to explore it. Okay, now let's fall to admire the significant historical marker by the lake shore. It's a notable relief commemorating a significant event during the Vietnam resistance against the United States. On October 26, 1967, U.S. Navy pilot John McCain while attacking Hanoi power plant. So, what would happen? He was shot down by the Vietnamese anti-aircraft missile, and he parachuted into Truc Bach Lake, where he was captured by the local, then held as a prisoner of the war for 5 years. In 1973, he was released under the Paris Peace Accord and returned to the U.S. Later, he actively contributed to the reconciliation process, helping normalize relationship between Vietnam and the U.S. after peace was restored. Truc Bach Lake is not just about the history, it's a lively hub of the culture and cuisine. Around the lake, you can find narrow streets lined with the restaurants and cafes blending Hanoi's old and new charm. Make sure to try phở cuốn, which is famous fresh rice noodle rolls at iconic spots like phở cuốn Hương Mai at 35p, Truc Bach, or phở cuốn 31 at 31 Musa. Just 3,000 to 5,000 VND per serving. It's so delicious and cheap. To enhance your experience, I recommend visiting early in the morning from 6 to 8 a.m. or in the late afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. when weather is cool and the light is perfect for capturing stunning photos. Okay, you can rent a bicycle along the Tangian Square or take a leisurely walk to stroking the serene view. If you're feeling adventurous, hop on the swan boat to paddle around the lake. It's so fun way to enjoy the scenery during the rainy season from the June to August. Don't forget, bring an umbrella or hat for comfort. Your left hand and welcome to West Lake. Vietnamese people call Hồ Tây. It's the largest natural lake in Hanoi with an area of about 5,000 hectares and a shoreline stretching nearly 18 kilometers. It's not only a famous scenic spot but also we often call an open-air museum of culture and history in the capital. West Lake was actually part of the Red River, left behind after the river drained its course, and like many places in Vietnam, the lake carried with it the interesting legend. One of the most well-known tales of a nine-tailed white fox that lies beneath a rocky hill by the Low River. After terrorizing the people for 1,000 years, it was finally defeated by Lạc Long Quân King and his was the palace troop. The swamp from after this battle was called Đầm Sa Cao, which later became West Lake. Beyond the legend, West Lake also witnessed many important chapters of Vietnamese history. During the Lý Trần and Lê dynasty, this area was chosen by kings as a legion and retreat center. Imagine once upon a time, along the lake shore stood many efficient palaces such as Thủy Hoa Palace, Từ Hoa Palace, and Kim Liên Palace. The last was the war emperors when boating Mandarin composed to poetry and Royal Lady cultivated mulberry garden to raise reward. Although most of the palaces no longer exist, their memory remains deeply rooted in local culture. You can see one of the most scarce spiritual sites in Hanoi, Phủ Tây Hồ. This temple is dedicated to the mother goddess Liễu Hạnh, one of the four immortals in Vietnamese folk belief and central figure of the Đạo Mẫu, which is UNESCO recognized as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity in 1260. Phủ Tây Hồ is a fine example about traditional Vietnamese temple design. The complex includes three main halls, arranging a linear sequences with curved title rows, curved wooden doors, and broken phonic motifs symbolizing propriety and protection. Beyond is the architecture, the style carries deep cultural meaning. For centuries, it has been a place where the locals come to pray for health, for fortune, happiness, and especially during the Lunar New Year, and on the 1st and 15th day of each lunar month. During those times, Phủ Tây Hồ became vibrant with incense smoke, folk music, and ceremonial practices, a living showcase of the Vietnamese spiritual heritage. For you, the tourists coming here can not only discover Hanoi religious life, but also about experiencing the harmony between history, belief, and nature. With great lake breezes surrounding the temple, Phủ Taiho truly feel like the serene cultural island in the middle of the postal capital. Great Lake offers a completely different charm. In the morning, it's a fitness hub for local jogging and cycling. By evening, it transforms into one of the most romantic spots in Hanoi, which is a legendary sunset. And of course, food level will not be disappointed in here. Don't miss the creepy Great Lake cream cakes, the steaming pools of the hot snails, or lakeside coffee with stunning views. So as you walk around the Great Lake, remember every corner here holds not only natural beauty, but also centuries of history, legend, and daily life of the Hanoi people.
Ladies and gentlemen, please look straight ahead. This is Tran Quoc Pagoda, considered the oldest pagoda in Hanoi with nearly 1,500 years of history. It was first built in the 6th century under Lý Nam Đế King, and back then it was named Khai Quoc, which means nation founding. And in the 17th century, the pagoda was moved to this small peninsula on the West Lake and renamed Tran Quoc, meaning wedding the nation, to protect peace for people. And the first thing that impresses everyone is its beautiful feng shui location. The pagoda lies in the middle of West Lake, connected to the land by a small bridge. From afar, it looks like a giant lotus blooming on the water. And in Buddhism, the lotus flower symbolizes the purity rising from the moon but still shining bright. That's why many Hanoians believe that praying here at Tran Quoc will bring the calmness and inner peace. As we walk in, the first structure is the Tam Quan Gate or the Chipo Gate. The three entrances represent the three gates of liberation, or in Buddhism, emptiness, formlessness, and desirelessness. Passing through the gate means leaving behind daily worries and entering a more peaceful spiritual world. And at the central, we find the main hall where Buddha Amuni and Bodhisattvas are worshipped. You will see the wooden statue covered the red lacquer and gold. These statues are not only for worship but also remind people to live kindly, compassionately, and peacefully in everyday life. Next to the main hall is the pagoda's most famous structure, the Ba Lian Tower. This tower is 11 stories high, and each story has small windows with Buddha statue inside, a total of 66 statues made from precious stone. The tower looks like a lotus rising straight up to the sky, symbolizing the enlightenment. The 11th level also represents from 11 spiritual steps leading to liberation. And in the late afternoon, when the sunlight shines on the tower, that will make it glow and reflect beautifully on the lake, a perfect moment for memorable photos. And not far from here stands the sacred Bodhi tree. This tree was taken from the original Bodhi under which Buddha attained enlightenment in India. It was a gift from the President of India to Vietnam in 1959. The local people believe that standing under this tree and praying sincerely will bring the peace and good fortune. There are also some interesting beliefs connected with this pagoda, like praying under the Bodhi tree brings the safety and blessing, or young people often visit the Ba Lian Tower to pray for love and a happy marriage. And at the beginning of the Lunar New Year, especially during Tet and the first full moon of the year, people come here to pray for peace and prosperity for their families. This pagoda in the middle of Wetlands is like a 1,000 years old lotus, still giving off its pure fragrance. I hope that when you leave Tran Quoc, each of you will bring with you a little bit of this lotus scent, meaning serenity and calmness in your heart. And maybe when you return to Hanoi one day, you will remember this very moment by Westlake. Tran Quoc will not only a sightseeing spot, but also a beautiful memory in your journey.